We're almost ready. Thanks for your patience. Is it working there, Keith? And do you show everybody logged in? Okay. Take it away, Gary.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to the April 20th, 2023 meeting of the Downtown Design Review Committee. My name is Gary Jones, and I'm the chair of the committee. When called upon, applicants and speakers will come to the front podium to speak. Only one person at a time should come to the podium. Don't approach the podium until vacated by the previous speaker. Speak into the microphone, and please identify yourself and provide your address for the record when you begin speaking. Address your comments, questions, and testimony to the committee, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. It is unnecessary to repeat testimony previously given by others. Citizens may address the committee on agenda items by responding to the chair's call for speakers during discussion on each item and signing the speaker log on the podium. All comments must be relevant to the item. The chair or presiding officer may, in his or her discretion, prohibit a person from addressing the committee and or remove that person from the council chambers if that person commits any disorderly or disruptive behavior. Please see the agenda for more information about these requirements. If you parked in the Sheridan Walker parking garage just north of the John Rex Elementary School or in the Arts District parking garage south of City Hall, staff can provide you with a parking validation ticket. The agenda and documents are located at https://okc.primegov.com/public/portal. You will then select the Downtown Design Review Committee meeting, then click on the agenda item, and the relevant documents will come up below them. Keith, please call the roll.
Gary Jones.
Here.
Justin Brannon.
Here.
Anthony Blunt.
Here.
Kayla Copeland.
Here.
Mariana Serrur. Eric Schmid.
Here.
Rosie Trujillo.
Here.
Thank you. We do have quorum, so we're able to proceed with the agenda. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the March 16th meeting. Do I have a motion?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Need the second plugged in. Excellent. And then please vote. Motion passes. Next on the agenda is cases to be withdrawn. We have 2 cases.
And staff is adding a third
And the
case.
staff is adding a 3rd case.
And I'll explain that. So one of the cases that's under items for individual consideration has been withdrawn. It was withdrawn after the public notices were sent out and after the staff report was prepared. So you had a staff report, but I'm adding to the withdrawn cases, and it's just reporting out to you because there's no action needed from you. DTCA 23-00013 at 410 North Walnut Avenue, and that was an application for a sign. So we have we now have 3 cases that have been withdrawn.
Are there any questions or comments concerning cases to be withdrawn? Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is continuance requests. We have none for this meeting. And the next we move to the consent docket. If there are not any questions or comments concerning the item on the consent docket, we'll accept a motion to approve the consent docket.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent docket.
Have a motion, have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. When the vote comes up, please vote. Motion passes. Thank you. Next on the agenda is cases for individual consideration. The first case is DTCA-23-00008 at 1111 North Lee Avenue. Laura?
Thank you. So this was on your agenda a couple of months ago, and we continued it for 2 months. And I just wanted to, well, let me see if I can. No. point out that I actually have, there we go. I have a note on the top of the staff report. I don't think I've ever done that before, but because they did some, drastic's not the word, because they made some significant revisions in their application, we actually sent the notice out again, and staff based the staff report on that revised application. So I just wanted to let you all know, just in case you had paid attention to the last staff report. So you might be familiar with the Pasture Medical Building. It has been before this committee previously. The one that sticks in my mind that happened right when I came back in 2015 is when they came to remove all the louvers. So the building used to look a lot different because it had those exterior louvers on all the windows, on those horizontal bands of windows. So what they're requesting is, you can see where the green line is on the west facade, which is the parking lot facade, and they're requesting to do work there where they're wanting to remove the sill and put full-length storefront windows and doors so they can activate that space. Right now, there is no door. You can't get in there from the outside, and they're wanting to add some uses that they don't currently have in that building. So the proposal is on this facade. They're also proposing to put a awning coming out from the building over that area. And so then this is the south facade where there is an entrance into the building. This is also looking at the area of work, so you can see how many windows there are. They're not proposing any changes to the second and third floor, so they would still retain the windows that they currently have. Staff wants to thank the architect because we had a meeting, they heard what we said, they drew some sketches upside down, which I was amazed at because I can't do that, and then resubmitted the project, which I think eliminated some of the areas that staff was extremely concerned about. So I'll just go back to this one right here. I gave you all the history of the building, as well as all of the other certificate of approvals that have come through for this one. You might also remember that in the northwest corner of this block, it used to be a parking lot that was for this, and you've had two projects come before you. Hopefully, I believe the second one is currently under construction. They're building an apartment building in that corner. So there are some changes coming to this block. They are hopeful that the uses that they're adding will be beneficial to the residents that live in this area. There's, one block to the west is a huge block, large apartment complex. So there is some need for those type of uses. I cited it's all policies from the handout as well as from the rehabilitation guidelines for Oklahoma City. We indicated some areas that, you have character-defining features. We are concerned, but as I said, they actually modified their proposal, so they are not eliminating as many of those features as they originally were proposing to. This building definitely has a certain character which we don't really see anyplace else, and I think it's a really fantastic building. So the proposed canopy is going to, it's a feature they don't currently have. And when you look at the rehabilitation guidelines, it talks about if there had been one, putting one in that looks like that one. But we have been able to confirm with the architect that in the future, if they want to remove that canopy, they can remove it and it won't damage the building. And that's our main goal here. So staff is supportive of this revised project that they've submitted. We feel it could be beneficial to that area. And we are recommending approval of it. we do have representatives here from the architect's office as well, but if you have any questions for staff or if Katie wanted to add anything, okay.
Are there any questions for staff? Seeing as there are none, Laura, you said that we did have
Yes.
representatives to speak on this project?
And if you don't mind signing in.
Of course.
Thanks. And then introduce yourself, Zach.
Hello, my name is Zach Woods. I'm the studio director at Gardner. We're the design architect for the job, so I'm here to ask any questions. Laura did an amazing job, so I don't really need to add anything to what she said to you. We've done a couple rounds of kind of back and forth with Laura and Katie to get where we think the owner can revitalize this first floor. Their goal is to reactivate the sidewalk, improve the sidewalk connectivity to the public sidewalk, to pull in people into the property and really use this building not just for office space, but also retail on the first floor for the neighboring community. So that's all I'd like to add here, unless you have questions.
All right. Is there any questions for the applicant? Since there are none, is there anyone else to speak on this application? What is your desire?
I'll make a motion to approve the application on the basis that the project complies with the regulations and guidelines of the Downtown Design District Zoning Ordinance as referenced in sections C and D of the staff report.
Do I have a second?
A Copeland second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Since the other case was withdrawn, that moves us to other business. Under other business, we have CE 01096 at 626 West Reno Avenue. Laura?
Give me one. There, yes. So a year or so ago, we had another CE before you on the same piece of property for the alley that was not platted all the way through the block, and you guys did approve that. So as the owner / developers working towards the project they're proposing, they uncovered something else that needs to be closed, and it is a rectangular easement that the city got. I don't know if we necessarily find these all over the place. And the applicant states that the subject easement is currently vacant, as you can clearly see. You can see where the building used to stand. And that's what it looks like from standing across the street. And no longer necessary as the surrounding property is undeveloped. This closure is requested to allow the property to redevelop as planned. Staff did not see any design-related impacts from this request, and we are recommending that you provide a recommendation of approval to the Planning Commission, and we have that wording for you at the end of the staff report. We have people representing this application here, but do you have any questions for staff?
Are there any questions for staff? Since there are none, applicant?
Hi, good morning. Mark Zitzat with Johnson & Associates. Laura, if you can go back to the exhibit we provided with the blue.
Oh, the one that I actually put in your,
So when this easement was
That one.
originally granted to the city, there was a setback, a pretty significant setback between the building and the property line, and so it appears that it was taken because that's where the sidewalk was that serviced the old furniture building that was there. So this project cannot move forward with a building that meets the current downtown design ordinance of a maximum 10-foot setback unless that easement goes away. This doesn't preclude any sidewalk that occurs in the right-of-way, so we're not losing any pedestrian access here. We just want to make sure that everyone was aware of that. So with that, be happy to answer any questions, but we would ask for your recommendation of approval.
sorry, I missed that, and I should have included that in my staff report. There is a design-related impact, so staff definitely supports this.
I
Thank
think
you.
that might be my first. Staff definitely supports an application of
Okay.
mine, so I'll take it.
Are there questions? Seeing as there are none, are there anyone else here to speak to this application? Okay. Motions?
Yep. Make a motion to provide a recommendation of approval to the Planning Commission for the request to close a public easement located on the south side of Rio Avenue between Lee Avenue and Dewey Avenue.
Have a second?
Rosie Trujillo, I'll second.
And before you do anything else, thank you so much. I was waiting for that screen to come up on our side, so.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Thank
Motion
you.
passes. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have under other business, CE-01101 at 1010 North Oklahoma Avenue. Laura.
Thank you. First, let me just clarify that for some reason, on the top of the staff report, I have a dash instead of a zero. So the case is CE-01101. It's referenced on the top of page 2. The public notice was correct and the agenda is correct. So I just wanted to clarify that. This property was zoned into the Downtown Design District. It's only one of 2 properties that has had that done. And I referenced that information. That was just last year. So this was excess right-of-way from the 235 project, and it was acquired from the DOT. So we have an alley on the north, full alley on the north. We have the street right-of-way for 9th in the middle, and down at the bottom is the north half of an alley. The south half in that location has already been vacated. And the request is to vacate those to allow the development of the project. I will say that we have gotten an application in for a parking lot on this piece of property. It potentially will be on your agenda for next month. I can't guarantee that at this point. But staff had no issues with this. Primarily, obviously, they go nowhere because you couldn't extend them any further than the edge of 235. And so any project coming in would have to provide its own on-site circulation, and there really is no need to retain the public rights-of-way that are out there. And so staff is recommending that you provide a recommendation of approval to the Planning Commission.
Are there any questions for Laura?
And I'm sorry, I didn't keep going, but it's all vacant, it's fenced, and that's probably the best thing to look at.
Okay. There are questions from Laura. Are there anyone here for the applicant?
Yes.
Good morning. Okay, Cassie Poyer with the Alliance for Economic Development. The Alliance manages the Urban Renewal Authority, which is the applicant for this. We acquired the property about 2 years ago from ODOT. It was excess right away. The ultimate goal is redevelopment of a building or something. Laura is correct in that right now we have authorized a temporary use of parking lot to support public strategies, which is they're rehabbing a building, an existing building just on 9th Street to the west, and they need parking for their employees, and there's not adequate parking. So it's just a temporary lease.
Does their building show up in that? That's looking west down 9th.
Yeah, so it's the one right behind the 9th Street parking lot, kind of where the tree is, that big, like, tree along the facade.
Oh, this
Yep.
one? Oh, the one
All
where
of that.
where Java Dave's used to be?
I think it's the one like just behind that, the taller one.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
it's, yeah, so
It's in
that's.
that area.
It's in, yep.
Okay.
And so it's a temporary use until we can get adequate, proposals at some point for development on that site. So, and yes, and ultimately, it will be necessary to facilitate development to close and vacate these alleys and streets, so.
Thank you. Are there questions? Okay. Is there anyone else here to speak to this application? Okay. Action?
I'll make a motion to provide a recommendation of approval to the Planning Commission for the request to close the right-of-way for Northeast 9th Street between North Oklahoma and I-235. in the alleyway located north and south of Northeast 9th Street between North Oklahoma Avenue and I-235.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Please vote. Motion passes. Moves us to communications on the agenda. Any staff communications this time?
Yes. We have a meeting next month. Please check your calendars. I'll try to do an early quorum call to make sure that we don't have a problem with that. Although I wasn't able to attend, and I'm sorry I wasn't there, I want to thank all of you who were able to attend the committee commission training. I don't know, Katie might have wanted to say something like that about
Yeah,
that. but-
I appreciate everyone that was able to come and that was able to participate and speak. Tony spoke to the group, so that was great. And hope you found it helpful. Would love to hear any feedback you have on it. And we appreciate all the input that everyone gave and the various points where we had discussion about items that will be, happening with the code update and that sort of thing. So thank you all.
Any other communications? Seeing as there are none, any comments from committee members? Well, next meeting is Thursday, May 18th. Without any further action.